Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're taking a fascinating journey back to the 1980s, but not just through memory. We're talking fashion.
Right.
We've been diving into a source from the Pixel Pulse fashion blog, specifically their Retro Rewind. VHS tapes, cassettes, floppy disks, and Rubik's Cube throwback fashion style piece.
What a great piece, yeah.
Our mission for this deep dive is to really unpack why this analog tech-inspired clothing is, well, so much more than just a passing trend.
Definitely more than a trend.
We'll explore its cultural significance, the psychology behind why it appeals to us, and how these designs manage to connect different generations. Hopefully you'll get a real shortcut to understanding this mix of tech and style.
And what's really fascinating, I think, is how these super everyday objects from the 80s, things we hardly thought about.
Like VHS tapes, yeah.
Exactly. How they've become these powerful symbols in fashion now. They're like tangible links back to a time when tech felt different, more hands-on maybe?
Totally. More tactile. It's not just about wearing something that looks old. The article really stresses this is a cultural thing, rooted in nostalgia identity. So when it mentions these analog icons being memory triggers, what does that actually mean? Is it just seeing them, or is there more to it?
That's a good question. Sarah Chen, she's a cultural anthropologist at UCLA. She explains their triggers because they connect us through shared experiences.
Okay, the actions.
Yeah, the actions. Think about the sound of a cassette clicking in, or that whirring floppy disk sound.
Oh, I remember that.
Or even the frustration, but then the satisfaction of twisting a Rubik's Cube. It's those actions tied to the objects that stick in our memory.
That makes so much sense. I definitely remember trying and usually failing to make the perfect mixtape pause.
Right. Classic.
The source mentions Marcus Rodriguez. He's 45 from Chicago. He says wearing his Never Forget cassette shirt just takes him right back. Teenage romance, creativity. It's more than just cloth, isn't it?
It absolutely is. It's a portal, like you said.
Yeah.
And that never forget idea, it's become almost a rallying cry for people who, lived through that analog to digital shift.
A nod to simpler times.
Sort of, yeah. But what's also interesting is how younger generations who maybe never even used a cassette.
Right, they wouldn't have.
They're grabbing onto these designs too, as symbols of maybe authenticity, something real in our super digital world.
So, okay, let's talk design. What are the key things that make you look at a shirt and just know it's 80s throwback? What are those unmistakable elements?
Well, design expert Jennifer Walsh says the magic is in the details, and she's spot on. We're talking chunky fonts, almost pixelated sometimes, like old arcade games.
Okay, yeah, I picture that.
Bold graphics, too, lots of neon and pastel colors popping. And that lived-in vintage feel is crucial.
How do they get that, the lived-in feel?
Often it's specific washes, or maybe the screen printing is deliberately distressed, so it looks like it's been worn and loved for years,
And the article mentions hand-drawn graphics, too, that kind of DIY vibe from the 80s.
That's exactly. Plus, the typography often uses those distressed fonts to make it look worn, authentic, usually on a black or white base. Then, bam, electric blue or hot pink.
Acid green.
Acid green, yeah. Very specific look.
Let's look at some examples. The piece mentions the VHS tape cassette floppy disk Never Forget Retro t-shirt. That one really sums it up.
It really does. It's like the holy trinity of 80s home tech, right? Crisp graphics, nice nostalgic layout. It just nails that transition era.
And the source lists the pros. Good cotton blend, authentic design, unisex sizing. And it's basically guaranteed to start a conversation.
Definitely a conversation starter.
There's that story about Lisa Park, 28. Yes, from Seattle. She got a VHS tee for her dad, and he apparently literally teared up. Said it reminded him of recording family movies.
Oh, wow. That's a power, isn't it? And then there's the other one, the old school retro 80s gadgets, the Retros t-shirt.
Oh, yeah, the busy one.
The busy one. It's like a wearable museum. Boom boxes, early computers, everything. High quality print, soft fabric. Great for tech fans, but yeah, maybe not for minimalists.
Okay, speaking of powerful symbols, the Rubik's Cube. That thing is everywhere in this retro fashion movement. What's the deal with the cube? Psychologically.
Well, Dr. Michael Torres, he's a behavioral psychologist. He puts it brilliantly. He says, the Rubik's Cube is the perfect metaphor for the 80s itself.
How so?
Colorful, complex, and ultimately solvable through patience and persistence. It's not just a toy. It represents a challenge, something you can figure out.
Colorful, complex, solvable. I like that. Does the source say why that metaphor hits home so hard? Or are there other 80s icons with that kind of weight.
It suggests the appeal isn't just visual nostalgia. It taps into that basic human thing of wanting to solve problems, achieve mastery.
Right.
And you see designs like the melting Rubik's Cube shirt or the ones linked to pop culture, like the Big Bang Theory version. They play with that idea of order versus chaos. Yeah, and David Kim, 32, from Portland, he says his Rubik's Cube shirts always get people talking about problem solving, patience, that feeling when you finally get all the colors right.
The joy of the solve.
Exactly. It's beyond just nostalgia. It's about curiosity, conquering a challenge.
Okay, so for someone listening who loves this look, but, doesn't want to seem like they're in an 80s fancy dress.
Yeah.
How do you actually style these pieces day to day?
Good question. Fashion stylist Amanda Rodriguez advises making the shirt the star. Don't overdo it elsewhere.
Let it shine.
Let it shine. For a classic 80s look, maybe pair a vinyl record tee with high-waisted acid wash jeans and oversized blazer maybe.
Okay.
Or layer one, like a championship vinyl shirt, under a leather jacket, tuck it into a pleated skirt. And the accessories matter. Chunky sneakers, definitely. Statement belts, maybe a colorful scrunchie if you're brave.
Huh. Scrunchies. And what about a more modern take?
Well, you could dress up something like a turntable tee with smart trousers and a blazer for like a cool office look.
Oh, interesting.
Or just go casual with joggers on the weekend. Emma Thompson, she's a fashion influencer. Apparently mixes her floppy disk tee with modern stuff like mom jeans and platform boots. Creates a nice tension, she says, between past and present.
Perfect tension. I like that phrase. Moving on to music then. Vinyl record shirts, championship vinyl collections. There's definitely a romance there with analog music.
Oh, absolutely. And record stores themselves have become these like cultural landmarks again.
Yeah, they really have.
Which raises a point.
Yeah.
Why is just wearing a gut vinyl t-shirt such a big conversation starter for collectors? Like Robert Chen from Austin mentioned, it's more than just liking music.
It feels like a badge, like you're in the club.
Exactly, a badge of community.
No, it's definitely more. The article mentions that phrase, the plural of vinyl is vinyl shirt.
Yeah, I saw that.
It's kind of a rallying cry for collectors, showing how obsessive vinyl collecting can be. These shirts, they don't just celebrate the tunes, they celebrate the whole ritual.
The ritual, yeah. Carefully handling the record.
Putting the needle down.
That warm analog sound, it's the whole experience.
So with all these authentic designs, quality becomes a big thing, right?
Yeah.
How do you know you're not just getting some cheap knockoff in this crowded market?
That's crucial. The source does stress understanding the quality markers, and it highlights brands, like Pixel Pulse Fashion is one example mentioned,
Right.
that focus on authenticity and durability. They set a kind of benchmark against the mass market stuff. The difference is often in the fabric, the colors being right, designs that genuinely capture the era.
And tech historian Dr. Jennifer Walsh specifically praises brands like that for getting the quality and the authenticity right. She notes they understand the cultural meaning behind it all.
It's more than just slapping a picture on a tee.
Exactly. It's about celebrating a real moment in tech and cultural history.
Mm-hmm.
But there's an even deeper reason these designs resonate, isn't there? A psychological angle.
Oh, yeah. The article mentions some fascinating research by Dr. Konstantin Sedekides. He's big in nostalgia psychology.
What did he find?
He explains that wearing nostalgic clothing can actually boost your mood, make you feel more connected socially, even give you a sense of meaning.
Wow. So it's therapy clothing.
Maybe a little. It acts as a tangible link back to positive memories, good experiences, like Maria Santos, the horror film fan, mentioned.
With the John Carpenter VHS shirt.
Yeah. For her, it connects her to a whole community that appreciates the films and the old VHS format. It's about belonging.
Belonging, connection.
Mm.
And then there's this really interesting kind of unexpected link to sustainability.
Right. That was surprising.
The article suggests wearing something like a 45 record adapter t-shirt.
Right.
What even is that for people who don't know? It's that little plastic thing, right?
Yeah, the little plastic donut you needed to play singles, the 45s with the big hole on a regular turntable spindle. Totally iconic little piece of plastic.
So wearing a shirt with that on it, it's like celebrating objects that were actually made to last.
Which is such a contrast to today's throwaway culture.
Totally.
It's pretty ironic, isn't it? Dr. Lisa Chen, she's an environmental fashion advocate. She points out exactly that irony. Wearing a durable t-shirt featuring a floppy disk.
Which probably wouldn't work anymore.
Exactly. The shirt outlasts the tech it depicts. It becomes this statement about valuing quality, permanence, in an age of planned obsolescence. It's like a quiet little rebellion.
A quiet rebellion. I love it. So, okay, if you're listening and thinking, I want to start my own retro tech collection, what's the advice?
Well, the article stresses understanding both the history behind the designs and knowing what to look for quality-wise.
Like fabric weight, print clarity.
Historical accuracy, yeah. Those kinds of things.
And the community aspect seems really important, too.
Oh, it's huge. Collectors really connect over the stuff, sharing stories, appreciating the little details. It's a real shared passion.
And looking forward, does this trend have legs? Is it sticking around?
Seems like it.
Yeah.
The article suggests it shows no signs of slowing down. Actually, maybe the opposite.
Why is that?
As our current tech gets more, intangible, clouds, streams, all that.
Less physical.
Less physical, exactly. The appeal of celebrating those actual objects from the past, things you could hold, it just gets stronger.
That makes sense. A reaction almost.
Maybe. And fashion futurist Dr. Angela Park, she sees the future maybe bridging the physical and digital, like interactive designs, maybe QR codes on shirts, or focusing even more on sustainable production.
Interesting. So the conversation continues.
Right. Which leads to a big question for all of us, really. How will fashion keep acting as this bridge between generations, talking about tech and culture as we move forward?
Wow, this deep dive really shows how, something as simple as a t-shirt can hold so much. History, culture, personal meaning. It's packed in there. It's a great reminder, isn't it? That even while technology just rockets ahead, that connection we have to the tangible past, it stays really strong.
It absolutely does.
Yeah.
And it kind of invites you, doesn't it, to think what seemingly obsolete bit of tech from your own past could be the next big fashion statement. What piece holds a value or a memory that really matters to you?